Where does this moment today fit into your lived experience as a precedent or an unprecedented thing? And what do you make of the government, the Trump administration's now response to what they did?
It's totally unprecedented. When I saw it, I'll tell you what I thought. I thought Russia. I thought North Korea. I held that seat for 24 years, the seat that Alex holds. And for those who don't know him, hopefully you'll get to know him. He is a workhorse, not a show horse. He is a family man. He is a first-generation American who went to MIT, whose parents came over with a green card from Mexico, and they did the toughest labor jobs you could imagine, cleaning houses, doing all of that. And here he is now being treated like a criminal. I view this as not only a physical attack on a United States senator, but an attack on this country. An attack on this Constitution. If these Secret Service people don't know senators, they need to get into another profession. There's only 100 of us, and he's been there for quite a while.
So let's dip into that point.
This is troubling.
And Senator, your clear statement here is quite striking given your experience. Let's actually dip in journalistically to the point you raised, because I put their statement up. They are asserting, the government's asserting, the agents were treating this as sort of a live action threat, as a potential attacker. And you're saying in your experience you don't buy that, and that they have and should have some knowledge of the top officials there.
Should. It's a prerequisite of the job. Listen.
Because that's part of what they protect, yeah.
When you have pages coming in to the Senate, they have to memorize not only the names, but the faces of all the members. But here's the thing. It's not only those people, I would call them, the way they acted like goons. I'm sure that they're, trying to do their job. But what about the Secretary of Homeland Security? She saw what was going on. She wasn't even scared. She knew what was going on, exactly what was going on, because Secretary Padilla is trying to get in touch with her to find out why they're betraying us in California and throughout the nation after lying and saying they were going after criminals. And they're putting little children into vans with their hands behind their back. They're breaking up graduations. They're knocking down pregnant women. One particular one was an American citizen. They're running after people in the fields of California who are picking the strawberries that everybody in the country can eat. We are a huge state. And yes, we have a lot of red areas and blue areas. But one thing we know, we get along because, yes, if someone's a criminal, goodbye. But if they are doing the work and they're sincere, let them alone. And that's all that Alex Padilla, because I know him, he sees in the faces of all these people that are getting harassed, his parents. And he knows how loving they were.
And he spoke to that point today. He spoke about using, and this is something we've heard, as you know, Senator, people around the country call on leaders to do, which is to step up and figure out any way to fight. He clearly said he was trying to embody and channel that, and look, if this is how they'll treat him. We've been careful today to show the video. The video really speaks for itself in this instance, but also report out the government response from the administration. Here was what the secretary said on Fox in part.
This man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself, and was removed from the room. So as soon as he identified himself, appropriate actions were taken.
A fact check and then your response. I'll say here in the newsroom, we've consulted the video. We've played it more than once. He identifies himself verbally, and because the attention was on him, the lawyer in me would say it's a reasonable inference that people in earshot could hear him say, I'm the senator, above and beyond the point you raised earlier of that being known. So it's false when she says he didn't identify himself at all. Your response to the rest?
She stood there. She saw the whole thing happen. She didn't even break her sentence. This man came. She knows who the senators are. She had to go before the Senate for a confirmation. But here's the thing. I did something I haven't done ever since I left. I contacted John Thune today, and I said to him, this is an attack on the United States Senate. This is an attack on the institution of the Senate, because anybody in the course of their work, if they weren't able to get in touch with the secretary and she was in their state and their people were getting abused and harmed without due process and nabbed and disappeared, and identifying themselves. My goodness. And, you know, again, you got to know Alex. Alex is
let me ask you
on
Senator Thune. You're saying, and again, you have this emeritus role, right? You guys go on the floor. You have a special role. I will say that in public, the Majority Leader Thune has said, quote, he wanted to get the facts and find out what happened before we make any comments about it. The facts are somewhat available on video. Is that an acceptable response to you, or what do you want to hear from him?
Well, I'm glad he didn't just do what the Speaker of the House did, which is bow down to the king and say, you know, oh, the senator was terrible. You know, he doesn't know anything that happened. So I'm going to give him the time. But I was happy to write to him. I CC'd Chuck Schumer, and I said, this is wrong for the Senate. We are an equal branch of government. We are doing our work. He is doing his work. This isn't pleasant to go there and confront her, but he can't get an answer. Again, why? You have to ask the question. This wasn't a stunt. This was a way to get her attention, to tell her they are not doing what they said they were going to do. Go get the bad guys like Barack Obama did. He deported so many people. But Trump and all his friends there, they are desperate. They have quota systems. They want numbers. They don't care who they harm, who they hurt, including little kids with cancer. And I'm sorry to be very emotional, but I am, and you know me, I'm who I am.